Hey, Raj Martin here from Billings, Montana. This is a praying medic. I sometimes look at his views and his videos because he usually has some pretty solid stuff. If he's not sure about it, he doesn't say it.
And it was also announced that the president will declare a national emergency to build the southern border wall. That fact has had a lot of people scratching their heads, but not for those of us who've been following Q. Q posted this. There's a link to that article about the national emergency. Q wrote, Anand's new last March. Do you believe in coincidences? At what point is it mathematically impossible? Winning big.
All right. So let's look at this a little more closely. They knew last March. Do you believe in coincidences? He always says that. And we need to understand that there are no coincidences. When you know the truth, there are no coincidences. At what point is it mathematically impossible? He keeps telling us that too. Winning bigly. And this is a winning plan with the White House, with Q, with POTUS, of course, the president, and with other individuals in the government. Again, I've stated again and again that the government's in a cleaning process, not only the CIA, the FBI, the DOJ, military, uh, the news, the deep state, the Justice Department is sharply divided against those that are pulling off crap and those that are trying to defend the Constitution and the laws of the land. But let's go a little further here with the post last March.
Is the hashtag Q. Graphic on the left-hand side is the Army Corps of Engineers Red Castle, Green Castle decode that we kind of guessed at last March. And
So this was, again, the post to last March, and this is the Army Corps of Engineers. That's their logo. When they brought them down and started working on stuff, uh, they started writing with the Corps of Engineers and started going work. They're using military funds to build the wall, and I believe that we'll find out this national emergency. It gives the president power to use funds that are in the budget to work on the national emergency process. So this wall would also be a national emergency to the president's administration, and he could use federal funds to help with that emergency. So I think that's why he's doing that. We'll learn more as this all unfolds in time.
it turned out to be a good decode. Uh, and Anon posted winning bigly and how Pepe meme. Q responded, credit to Anons who deciphered the Red Castle, Green Castle. Why must we communicate this way? National security laws, telling us plainly the plans of the president would be against the law if it dealt with issues of national security. But Q provides clues that allow us to paint a picture for ourselves, and that is not illegal. Q wrote this back in November 1st of 2017. Think about it logically. The only way is the military, fully controlled, biggest advance drop on poll. One of the Anons responded to Q, got eyes on someone in China earlier today. Thanks, Q, for all you and your people are doing to unite our world. We owe you more than you know. And Q responded to that. We only go public when we want the target to know. Q. So when we get these inside glimpses at operations that Q and the team are doing, they're putting this out publicly, so they want the targets to know, hey, the whole world is watching what's going on.
So again, this is part of the espionage, military intelligence and espionage that's going on. They know that these criminals are watching this as much, if not more so, than the public. And this stuff is posted, so they're letting these criminals know exactly that they're being watched, that we've got eyes on you, and we're following what you do. Just a matter of time before you're either subpoenaed, arrested, or both, and we deal with you accordingly. So this is done so they put some pressure on them, and a lot of them are trying to flee or uh, grab funds, and all this stuff is being tracked as part of the espionage that's going on. move by move, by the military intelligence community and the Q group that is associated with that. And remember, it's a Q group. It's not just one individual. Again, these Q posts are so important because it shows us that this stuff was set up a long time ago, at least a year to two. Some are saying that this goes back even before President Trump was elected, at least 7 to 10 years. There's been a lot of planning in this from the pre-election standpoint, from the election standpoint, from the media standpoint, from military intelligence, military courts, DOJ divisions, uh, Supreme Court uh, justices there that are being elected, one that is going to be elected here probably this year or next, as well as the Senate being set up, uh, and pressure being put on the Congress or the Democratic Party. The stuff that's going on internationally with the military, with the gold, with the central banks, with the Federal Reserve, with the IRS. Uh, this stuff is massive in its scope and is not just a simple little plan. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that we have no idea about. And it's probably a good thing, but it also gives us a glimpse of how massive and what a master mind Trump is in his group that he's working with, groups that he's working with. There are many groups involved in this. Trump has just solidified the white hats against the dark hats and deep state against Trump and so forth. And as this stuff all plays out, we'll see more and more of this come to the front. Uh, as the D-class and other things come out, FISA wars and other things come out, all this is coming to a head. And I'll bet you that a lot more comes to a head this year and next year before the elections. This is going to be very interesting these next couple of years before the elections in the fall of 2020. Pay attention closely to what's going on here. Good news, Roger Martin from Billings, Montana. We're thankful for those people with QAnon and military intelligence, and also those people that are watching these posts very carefully, because it gives us insights that we would not put together on our own account, our own intelligence. Good day. Hey, this is still from Praying Medic. I missed a couple points here. One of them was the post here on this missile firing. This is very important and very treasonous. And the deep state would do this to cover their butts because things are being revealed they don't want the public to know about. So they would get into a world war or a state of war just to keep this from coming out. That's how desperate and villainous these people are.
Q posted this morning. Looks like around 3:37. You have more than you know. It's all here. Future proofs past. Q. Then at a little bit after 4 o'clock in the morning, Q posted this, going back to that unauthorized missile launch near Whidbey Island back on June 10th of last year. Remember the cover story for this. It was supposedly a helicopter. Coincidence regarding...
This is not a helicopter here. It shows a clear missile being shot, not coincidence. This is what the deep state does to divert attention from really what's going on. And they will even go to war to protect their butts.
Air Force One regarding CA Canada route to North Korea. Bigger than the 25th Amendment attempt to remove. The depth of this is very serious. Q. So, for those of you who don't remember or maybe weren't around on that, the president had been traveling from Canada to Singapore to meet with Kim Jong-un. That was on the 9th of June. The missile was fired on the 10th. So the president was already in Singapore when the missile was fired. Q suggested in August, and I'll just read this post to you, how do you prevent the public release of incriminating acts that would forever strip their power away? How do you bind the hands of POTUS? Two-pronged situation. Number one, test the strength of midterms through private analysis, win-loss ratio. If the analysis is below a key metric without a chance for recovery, you go to the second option, which is start a war. Think missile accidentally fired. Against who? Relationships are very important. The sharing of information is very important. So I think Q has suggested, reading past drops, that they had intelligence that this missile was potentially going to be fired. They alerted probably our partners in China and other countries that there may be a missile launch. The United States was able to take care of that missile, that it didn't cause an international problem. I think the goal was to have a war. And Q is illustrating that this is a very serious situation. If the deep state would go to the lengths of launching a missile to start a war, to prevent the public release of incriminating information against them, that is pretty serious. We got this post. Wife of burned amputee veteran here. We are ready. We are with you. We will continue to fight. Godspeed. Q+++. Q responded, your husband answered the call as a brave and selfless patriot. We are forever grateful for his service and sacrifice to this country. May God bless you and your family. Honor and respect. Q. So Q takes us back to that previous drop again from November. Why, hours after the election, did 7 people travel to an undisclosed location to hold a very private and highly secured, guarded meeting? Then Q writes today, think McCabe, number 2. Q has referred to Andrew McCabe, second in command at the FBI when he was working there. Think about the McCabe interview regarding the meeting regarding the 25th Amendment. Think about Rod Rosenstein wearing a wire regarding the attempt to entrap the president in the 25th Amendment. 2 people accounted for. The identities of the remaining ones are coming. Note, border open. Context in the same drop. The border has more importance than what is publicly disclosed.
All right, so here again, McCabe and Rod Rosenstein are at each other's throat. Cabe needs to go before Congress and declare what he's actually done. His book is coming out. This is all connected to what's going on in the Treasonous Acts and the penalties that are coming with both McCabe and Rod Rosenstein and others. Now, he said there's 7 individuals in this meeting, and the other 2, these are just 2, McCabe and Rod Rosenstein. There are 5 others, and their names are going to be coming out. So pay attention to future drops on this when the timing's right. Again, this is part of the espionage. You can bet your butt they're looking at this stuff, and they know the noose is going to tighten around their necks, and it's going to be, they're going to have hell to pay. There's going to be treasonous acts to be done, and there are going to be some serious penalties and jail time for this, without exception, if not death penalties, for sure.
The Q has been telling us for quite a while that this issue with securing the southern border goes much deeper than a lot of people realize. And those 7 people who met that night, I think 2 of them then would be Rosenstein and McCabe. And it looks like we're going to learn about the other 5 in the future. Mike Goodwin wrote a pretty good article that reviews the coup attempt by the deep state to oust President Trump. And he anticipates the job that William Barr is going to have in exposing that corruption.
Again, I don't trust Barr because of his closeness to Mueller, and I just don't trust him. I think there's some dirt on Barr that is going to make him act like he needs to. I think there's definitely dirt on Mueller that made him do some stuff that he didn't want to do. But all this is going to come out in time, I can guarantee you. This espionage, these political plays of entrapment and using this evidence against people to make them fall in line, this is going on all the time. It's been done by the CIA many times. Now it's being done by our military to get this stuff out and to have these people be held accountable. So, tit for tat here. Good news, Roger Martin from Billings, Montana. Good day. All right, it was just indicated here that this McCabe and Rod Rosenstein and Obama called the shots on this, set this up. He gave the orders on this. So Obama is deeply set in this, and he is currently being detained at Guantanamo, being interrogated, and that's why we have been able to capture uh, other individuals, and because Obama is working with them, and he will be sentenced. I don't know what his sentence will be, but they're holding him. He's being detained. He's releasing stuff. Uh, Soros has been captured, evidently, and that stuff is coming out also. It's been verified by different sources. And I believe one source is a lot more credible than the other, but I think it is actually happening. This here is some type of military weapon, and this is a big machine come in here, but this is what they're doing to nail the missile that came down. And so something like this is being used to nail these suckers, and the Army or the military has these type of weapons for defense system. They've been proven and tested out, and obviously they're effective. They brought the missile down. Now they're saying here this F-15 is February 15th and a national emergency, and Q predicted that. I don't know. Could be. This stuff is very tightly woven and coming out and worked on, and no doubt that President Trump is working with military intelligence to do these things at given times. And this plan has been set up and it's been working out very well.
February 15th, F-15, possibly. Just want to say this, a national emergency that the president has declared does not mean we are not safe. Patriots are in control. We are winning, and the military has things under control. Nothing to worry about. The next post from Q is about Ruth Bader Ginsburg and the report that she returned to the Supreme Court today after an extended illness. Q posted his previous drop about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, this long post over here. And Q said, "Be prepared for more fake news disinfo claiming that we stated death. Read carefully, F-15 Q." All right, so I'm not sure what the F-15...
This is Q indicating that Ruth Bader Ginsburg is either dead or in coma, but she's not going anywhere. And she's not in good health. She's not back at the Supreme Court. Again, this is more fake news, and the media is full of it. And even the supposedly attempt at a public outing, no photographs were taken, more fake news. So this is more fake news that she's back at the Supreme Court. She is not. All right, let's go back here about this Ruth Bader Ginsburg thing. He states that Q never said she was dead, but I don't think she is active on the Supreme Court. I think this is more fake news and anti-propaganda. This post was because the Anons have constantly been pushing for proof of life, and many assumed that she was dead, and the deep state was trying to hide this fact to prevent another Supreme Court appointment for the president. Now that we see Ruth Bader Ginsburg is alive, mainstream media is going to accuse Q of being a LARP, saying that she was dead. Now we see that she's not. This is proof Q is a fake conspiracy theorist. Q never said she was dead. Anons did. Ruth Bader Ginsburg being alive does not disprove Q. That is a pretty good summary. And this is the original post that Q had about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and Q reposted that. It is interesting that Q said we should look out for false flags. I don't know that this is a false flag operation, but multiple people have been shot in what police were calling an active shooter situation in Aurora, Illinois this afternoon. That is all I have for this update.